Let the college football season begin. Well, almost. We're getting closer to that September 3rd kickoff for the Sooners when they'll host UTEP September the 3rd. Hi, everybody. This is part one of my three-part 2022 Oklahoma Sooner football preview. This part, we're going to talk about the offense. And before we do that, though, unless you've been in the cave since the Oklahoma State Bedlam game last November, you know a lot of things have happened since then. Of course, shortly after the Sooner lost to Oklahoma State, Lincoln Riley decided to head west and go to L.A. and coach the USC Trojans and eventually take Mario and Caleb Williams with him. Spencer Rattler, he decided to go to USC as well, but the USC on the East Coast. That's the University of South Carolina, along with tight end H-back Austin Stogner. But shortly after the Riley departure, Joe Castiglione brought in former defensive coordinator Brent Venables, the head coach now. And Venables, we know his success at Clemson. Last decade, won 2 national championships as defensive coordinator under Dabo Swinney for the Tigers. But now Venables will bring in both Jeff Lebby, an offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator Ted Roof. Roof, he coached with at Clemson, by the way. Lebby previously at Ole Miss. We'll talk about him in a second. But Venables has never been a head coach before on any level, anytime, anywhere. Unfamiliar territory, yes. But so far, he's embracing the role as HC very well. And if you haven't checked, the 2023 recruiting class for Oklahoma, it's top 10 in the country. In fact, it was number 7 the last time I saw, thanks in big part to Brent Venables. So the Sooners, I think can feel good about the enthusiasm, the grit and determination that Venables will bring to that head coaching staff and will translate to his staff. And by the way, the Sooners bring in Jerry Schmidt, the one-time strength and conditioning coach from 1999, Bob Stoops' first year, all the way to 2017, Lincoln Riley's first year. Schmidt went to A&M for a little while, but is now back, and big time responsible for the development of those players, especially during the offseason with nutrition and, of course, the weight room as well. Let's talk about this Sooner offense and Jeff Lebby, who had a lot of success at Central Florida and big time success at Ole Miss, especially last season, where in 2021 it was Ole Miss that had the #1 total offense in the SEC, even better than Alabama. You know how good Alabama's offenses always are. But Lebby now comes to Soonerland, and he's got a big benefit because, you know, he'll be the offensive coordinator with quarterback Dillon Gabriel calling the signals at the line of scrimmage. And these two matched together at Central Florida a few years ago. So you get an experienced quarterback in Gabriel, who in 2 seasons threw for about 8,000 yards, 70 touchdown passes, only 14 picks, a left-handed QB who can run by design, by the way, if needed. So you bring in Gabriel and you bring in familiarity with the Jeff Lebby offense, which will be up-tempo. It will be up-tempo, by the way. And so it's going to be kind of exciting to watch, if you ask me. So you bring in Gabriel. We'll see if his success when he was playing in the athletic conference, the American Athletic Conference, if that can translate to the Big 12 against Power 5 competition. Backing him up will be Davis Bevell, the one-time Pittsburgh Panther, who, by the way, backed up Kenny Pickett, who was a first-round draft pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, yeah, Bevell played second fiddle to Pickett, but that's a pretty mean fiddle that he was playing. Bevell, by the way, did play in the Peach Bowl this last season, had a touchdown, had an interception, and Bevell, by the way, 6 feet 6 inches tall. Ralph Rucker remains on the Sooner staff as QB. He was third string last season. And you bring in General Booty. I'm sure you've heard about this guy, mainly for his name, and it's gotten a lot of chuckles. But General Booty, that's his actual name. He comes to the Sooner staff, formerly from Tyler Junior College. The running game for the Sooners, you miss a huge, huge member because Kennedy Brooks was the meat and potatoes of that backfield a year ago. Over 1,200 yards rushing, was a touchdown machine, and one of the biggest difference makers in that come-from-behind win in the Red River Showdown against Texas. So you have to replace the likes of Kennedy Brooks, but Eric Gray hopefully will have more production this season. Now, Gray, we know how productive he was at Tennessee in his 2 seasons, but last year did some good things. He had over 5 yards a carry, but didn't get a whole lot of touches, and maybe that was because of the success of Kennedy Brooks. Marcus Major, he's had some injury issues to deal with. The one-time Millwood Falcon had some eligibility issues to deal with as well, was eligible by the NCAA in mid-season, so we did see a little bit of him in late October as well as November. But the guy I'm the most excited about in the backfield, and you're going to hear more about him as the season progresses, that's Javante Barnes, the former Las Vegas high school running back, one of the top players from the state of Nevada. Had one heck of a high school career, even though his junior year was missed because Nevada didn't have high school football in 2020 due to COVID, but still a productive career, a back that can do it all in Javante Barnes. And he was also, too, an early enrollee. So he may not start at the beginning of the season, but he's going to get increased production, in my opinion, because how good he's going to be probably as early as October. So one to watch in Javante Barnes. And as far as other running backs, too, that they're bringing in, Gavin Sawchuk as well as Talway Walker. Those are two other new additions to the team. As far as wide receivers, look, for the Sooners, they had the number 17 offense last year in the country out of 130 teams. Not bad. But they did not finish in the top 30 in either rushing or passing offense. And you got to replace some talent as far as receivers, not just losing Mario Williams to the Trojans, but also you lose Javon Hazelwood. I think that's maybe the bigger loss as he transferred to Arkansas. But you do have the most talented receivers of the bunch back, and that's Marvin Mims, who did have over 700 yards receiving in 2021, and also, too, had 5 touchdowns. Biggest thing for this Sooner offense is getting Mims as involved as possible. He didn't even get to play about not even half of the snaps last year, about maybe 40% of the overall snaps. That was just the Lincoln Riley philosophy. But I think under Lebby, you'll see him play more and you'll see him get more touches. He's too talented not to. His speed is unbelievable. And, of course, reliable hands. And, a guy that I think has a bright future on that next level. That's Marvin Mims. Well, 2021, it came and went, and Theo Wease pretty much missed all of it because of a foot injury. But now you have him back as well, and I think he has the talent to be that second option for Gabriel. Drake Stoops. This guy may not be the most athletic or the fastest, but he's one of the toughest players you'll see. The former walk-on from Norman North, and, of course, son of Coach Bob Stoops. Drake Stoops, you can rely on him to get those short, tough catches, especially in between the hash marks. So you bring him back too. And as far as overall big-time production, that's pretty much it as far as what the Sooners bring back. But remember, they do have 9 receivers on scholarship, and one of those guys is Jaden Gibson, who, just like Javante Barnes, was an early enrollee, getting involved in that offense as early as possible. So he'll be a part of that rotation too. And you bring in a couple of transfers. The transfer portal definitely took from the Sooners, but also, too, it gave it. With L.D. Bunkley Shelton, who they bring in from Arizona State, who played all but one game of last year, and a guy that saw a lot of action a year ago from Missouri, the former Booker T. Hornet from Tulsa, and former Missouri player that is Javian Hester. So as far as receiving production, I wouldn't say that this is going to be an area that you have to worry about too much, especially under Lebby's offense. Talking about the offensive line, Bill Bedenbaugh, some thought that maybe he would go to the West Coast with Lincoln Riley and USC, but he decided to stay. And hopefully the left tackle, Anton Harrison, can have a big season. There was talk at times last year that maybe he didn't go all out. He wasn't fully committed. Let's hope that that's not the case this year because Harrison's got the capability of being an NFL-type tackle. Definitely got the size and got the strength. Let's see if he has the mental capacity to be that overall productive left tackle that the Sooners are going to need. So Anton Harrison, the left tackle. The right tackle, you have Wanye Morris, who did play at Tennessee previously. He'll have the right tackle spot and really be protecting that blind side of Gabriel, because remember, Gabriel's left-handed. At your left guard position, you're bringing in a darn good one from Cal University. That is McCade McTower, former second-team All-Pac-12 left guard. Right guard, this will be another area to watch for with Chris Murray, the former UCLA Bruin. And to tell you the truth, at the center position, I don't know who they're going to start. They've got at least 2 choices in Andrew Rame, who played his high school ball at Broken Arrow. And he's more of an athletic type center than the guy he's competing against. Rame's known for his athleticism. Upper body-wise, maybe not quite as strong as the guy he's competing against in Robert Congo, the former Arizona Wildcat. But Congo not quite as athletic as Rame. And finally, talking about the H-back tight end position, that's Braden Willis, who's been with the program for a while. Hasn't gotten a whole lot of activity in terms of receptions, but for his career, he does have 6 touchdowns. And you're also bringing in Daniel Parker, the former Missouri Tiger. Of course, Jeremiah Hall was very productive for the Sooners, no longer there. So that's a look at the Oklahoma offense for part number 1 of my 3-part preview. Part number 2, we're going to talk about the Oklahoma defense, and then eventually part number 3 will break down the 2022 Oklahoma Sooner schedule. That's all for now. See you next time.